We are not broadcasting.
Thank you. Time is now 6:36. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome all of our visitors joining us remotely on Council Live and the YouTube page. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Gore.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bennett.
Here.
Councilor Randolph.
Here.
Councilor Holloway.
Here.
Councilor Carton.
Here.
Councilor Denton.
Here.
Councilor Pelham.
Here.
All right, thank you. For everyone watching, this should be a really short meeting. We only have one item on tonight's agenda. It is the Hopewell real estate tax deadline extension. We do have the treasurer on the line to give us a presentation. Council received a message from Council Part in regards to concerns about the tax bills not being received by residents. And then this afternoon, the treasurer sent out an email to council in regards to a request to extend the deadline as well due to some mailing issues. So we're here to talk about that item and then also see if we're willing to extend the tax deadline to support the office and our constituents. So I'll pass it over to Ms. Gosier to provide an update, and then we can ask questions and then hopefully take action.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Vice Mayor and City Council, City Manager, and other staff and constituents and citizens of Hopewell. On the second half of the real estate bill, our process is basically 3 steps. We have 10,000 total bills that we must get out. Those go out for the first half in mid-May, and that includes the first installment and the second installment is printed on the bills. Some people pay the full amount for the full year at that time, and some people choose to use the 2-step installment. So what we do is we have one file that goes out to Loretta, CoreLogic, and Wells Fargo, which are the banks and lenders. These are citizens' accounts who have mortgages. And so that file is processed electronically, and then in turn, they send us the money back electronically. One of maybe 3 different checks, we may get $1 million a piece. The second step is in-house bills. We process approximately 2,000 in-house bills, and these are multiple parcel owners. So these are individuals that may own anywhere up to 300 different parcels of real estate in Hopewell. And so because it's very complicated on flips, and they may own the property for 6 months and then flip it in and transfers hands, we handle those in-house, so that way we can real time determine who the new owner is, where that bill needs to go. If the address is incorrect, it comes back to us, and then we have a chance to put it back into the mail. So that's about 2,000 bills. And then the remainder 5,000, we use an outsourced vendor. This time we use Divco, which is a company that's in Tennessee. They gave us a very good rate in being able to process the 5,000 bills, print them, mail them, do the envelopes, and do the insert envelopes, and then get those out directly to the residents. This time, when we were doing the second half reminders, we felt like we were on track with everything. We had a couple of things that came up personally and then staff-wise, but we thought we had enough time. What we did not estimate is the disruption of mail services with everything that was going on with the postal system, the elections, et cetera. We're finding out that now from the vendor that those things may have come into play. They have scan codes or barcode readings that they were investigating today. I have not heard back from them, but they were going to be able to provide exactly what happened to the mailers that went out. We were contacted on the 24th when we were trying to confirm. We were starting to get calls, and they were told that the bills had been put into the mail stream on the 24th of November. So I wasn't in a panic, because I thought that if they went out on the 24th, they surely would start to hit mailboxes by that Friday. However, what we're finding out is that they still have not been placed in citizens' mailboxes. The company, like I said, is researching through their scan codes what actually happened, where they are. Did they go to Richmond? Are they still in Richmond? Or if they are in Hopewell, and are they still in Hopewell? All I know factually is that most people that have called the office have not received the bill at their home.
Okay, and so what are you requesting in terms of the deadline extension and your reasoning so we can open the floor for questions?
Sure. Well, what I'm hearing from most of the taxpayers is that they were expecting, because people are used to getting a reminder notice. And so because they were waiting for the reminder notice, um, and we were telling them that the reminder notices were in the mail, having an extension would allow them the opportunity to get the payments in without a 10% penalty, which is what would happen on December the 8th without an extension. It's not the fault of any of the taxpayers that they did not get the bill in the mail. Should they arrive tomorrow, or should they arrive Saturday, or should they arrive Monday, obviously that would only give them a short period of time to be able to have it postmarked or dropped off in the drop box. The drop box is available 24/7 in the back of City Hall. The first half bills, like I said, have the amount that's due on the second half, but talking to taxpayers, some did not keep that documentation. And then some people are taking care of their elderly relatives, so they don't have access to it. The bills have been online since July 1st with the citizen self-service, but a great deal of our citizens are seniors. They don't have access to the internet and are not able to pull those up. And so just based on what I've talked to many citizens and walked them to and fro as they come to get temperature scanned and checked in to make their payments, just having that additional time would take a lot of stress off of many of the people that are already under COVID-19 concerns of getting out of the house, having to leave their home, as well as just the time pressure of getting to the bank, and all the other things that would have to take place for them to make a December 7th deadline.
Okay, so you gave us a message about December 18th or January 5th. Are those still your recommendations?
I would say anytime, no time before December 18th. I think at least December 18th is a minimum. And then I would say January 5th as a maximum, just basing that off of what one other locality is doing for their citizens due to COVID-19 and other issues that they may be having in their county.
Thank you. Okay, we'll open the floor for questions, and Councilor Parton, you're up first, and then Councilor Denton.
All right, I'll move that we adopt the resolution extending the second half of the installment payment for the 2020 real estate taxes to Monday, December 21st.
Second. Can you speak up a little bit,
Second.
Councilor Parton?
Councilor Parton moved to extend the tax deadline till December 22nd. Is that correct, Councilor Parton?
Yes.
Monday, the 21st.
The 21st, Monday, the 21st. Councilor Denton, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just cannot hear him.
Okay, Councilor Parton made a motion to extend the tax deadline to Monday, December 21st for the 2020 second half of the payments. And that was motion by Councilor Parton, seconded by Councilor Pelham. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can
Okay.
hear all that. I just can't hear it. Could not
Oh,
hear
you couldn't hear him. Okay. Go ahead, Councilor Parton. So is there other discussion?
No, that's it. I mean, can everybody hear me better now?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Councilor Denton, you're next. We're in discussion now for the motion that's on the floor before council.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. I guess, Ms. Garcia, I have a question for you. I am concerned that we're finding this out now, this week. As everybody should know, you do not answer to council. You have no responsibilities to council. But we did receive an email from you on November the 2nd that said that our cash balances are disturbingly low, and there should be an effort to, in bold, slow down on essential spending until after December the 5th, the real estate tax deadline. We anticipate collecting about 6.0 million. However, we are understaffed and we have a recent resignation. So all of this was known on November the 2nd. And there is simply more money being dispersed each week from our account than what is being deposited. I forecast that there is a $3.4 million more cash dispersed than what has been received. As a counselor and representative of my ward, this concerns me greatly. Not to spend anything more than we had to until we could get these real estate taxes in. I feel my job as a counselor is to take care of city's business and be responsible. And to do my job, I've got to make sure the city has the money it needs to meet its budget. And receiving this, and if we put it off, receiving this money, is this going to put our city in any kind of jeopardy? I am concerned about that. We passed a budget, but we don't always know what revenue is coming in. And after receiving this email, 1st of November, that alarmed me, and it still does. So I don't know that we can afford to extend this. We need to get this money in as soon as possible. We have no control. What we're doing here tonight is strictly for our citizens. We have no control to do anything to try to make sure we're a solvent company. I mean, business, city. So I am concerned as a representative of a ward. This went into quite a bit of detail. I didn't go over all of it, but the mayor may have it. It was November the 2nd email.
Do you want me to put it on the screen, Councilor Denton?
It might help. I mean, I think we're here tonight to try to work something out, but at the same time, I want to be sure we do not do anything that's going to be detrimental to our city, to its employees, in meeting the obligations that we have passed in our budget. So that's where I stand on this.
Okay.
I'm sorry we did not know anything about this until this week. Maybe some of these questions could have been answered, but I got some of them today. And we still don't have the tax bills, so the citizens don't have it. So I am very concerned.
Okay, if you want if you want me to put on the screen, I will. I'll have to stop sharing for a moment to get the email. Is that what you want? Or do you want Ms. Gossier just to answer your comments now without the image?
I would like to have this email up on the screen if possible. It is dated Monday, November the 2nd.
Okay, give me 1 second. And
Okay, thank you. While she's looking for that, I thought this week we had talked about December the 18th would be satisfactory, but I guess it's incidental because we still don't know where we are since no one has gotten their bills. I don't know how we can really set a date at this point if we set a date.
Is this the email that you were reading out loud?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can see highlighted, slow down on non-essential spending. And then and I forecast that there is a $3.4 million more cash dispersed than what has been received.
Okay, so do you want Ms.
Right.
Gosey to address your questions at this time?
Yeah, can we, I guess my concern, Mayor, is that can we afford, what do we do at this point? We've been told we need this money. So how can we sit here tonight and try to have an extension to receive this money? I don't know.
Okay, so I hear your points. I'm gonna give Ms. Gosier the floor so she can address some of what you shared. And then obviously, you know, open the floor up for council to get their input as well. I have my thoughts, but want to hear from all the council first. So Ms. Gosier, can you try to address what was just shared by Ms. Denton and try to, you know, address some of the concerns she raised and answer her questions first, please?
Yes, and thank you. I'm glad that she looked and took the email seriously. If you look at what's in yellow, the $14.1 million is what was the bank balance as of November 2nd. And so I can tell you today, the bank balance is at 18 million. So there's a closure of that gap of about $4 million just in those past 31 days, which I'm very, very happy about. We have had funds come in from the banks. Like I said, there are 3,000 accounts that come from 3 different sources, Loretta, CoreLogic, and Wells Fargo. And those funds have come in and have been deposited. So I'm not as concerned about the 3.4 million from November 2nd, based on the fact that as of today, we're at $18 million. So it's not like no one has paid their taxes because of the deadline. We've had steady money coming in from the businesses, the plants, as well as, like I said, those lenders. By giving the citizens that are here, the residents, an opportunity to pay without penalty by the 21st, I don't feel that that puts our financial standing in jeopardy at all. Should they not pay it on the 21st, then there's always the series of delinquent activity that goes against those accounts, and everyone knows how that works. So if that appeases you at all, but the $14 million was as of November 2nd. I will probably be putting out your report tomorrow so that you could compare November to December 4th.
That would be very helpful since this is the only report I have at this point. So you can see why I am concerned if what you are saying is a $3.4 million deficit. And we have not received anything since then. So that's good news. But I still have the question, if we're not sure where these bills are, how can we set a date? When are the residents going to get their bills? Because I had heard one time they were mailed on November the 18th. That was what some of my constituents had told me when they called and got someone there in the treasurer's office. They were told they were mailed on the 18th.
Yes, remember there's 3 steps. So the banks received theirs earlier in the month. The in-house bills went out by the 18th. And those individuals that we're talking to now would be getting theirs from the third party. That file was sent off to them, I believe, on November the 13th.
Well, aren't there the people that are calling, aren't they the third party that's getting these bills?
Right. So what I'm saying is we sent the file off to the third party on November the 13th. They told us the dates that they were sending them out. And so that's the dates that we would communicate to the citizens. And so that date changed. The date told us the 24th is the date that they were putting them in the mail. And that's the email
And
chain that I sent to you all.
I'm sure you have got that sent to you in an email. Could you forward that to us?
I did send it. I sent it to you all this afternoon.
Yes, she did.
All right, so we know when they mailed it. You sent something out this afternoon that tells us when it was mailed from them?
They said that they were going to give me an exact, from their scan code, the exact date, time that they were hit Richmond. I did not get that by a close of business today, so I expect that tomorrow.
Could you forward that to us?
Yes, as soon as I get my hands on that, I will forward it directly to you all. What I do know from the vendor is that they obviously accept responsibility. They sent me a zero invoice, so they are not charging our city for the processing of these bills.
Maybe that would pay for some of the penalties.
Counselor Denton, do you have any other questions at this time?
I'm done. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. I lost track of who had their hand raised next. This is between Counselor Randolph and Counselor Pelham.
Randolph.
Okay, Counselor Randolph.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Madam Treasurer, I need a little bit of clarification with Loretta, CoreLogic, and Wells Fargo. I understand the process is different and they receive their bills differently than the individual constituents that have to pay. However, I have checked online for numerous people that have mortgages and their mortgage companies have told them they have paid it. However, their account shows nothing to that effect. Have you debited those accounts for taxes paid, or are you waiting for something, or is that to be done in the future? And if so, when is that going to be done?
Great question. We typically upload them the day that we deposit the checks to the bank. So they send us the electronic file.
Right.
The checks are in the mail to us. So once we have those checks going to SunTrust, then we go ahead and credit the appropriate accounts. So that way we make sure that when we do our reconciliations that the cash matches the accounts.
Don't they usually do wires instead of checks?
Some wire, the $1.2 million, we expect that to be a wire in tomorrow, but the
I know
others are
CoreLogic
checks.
wires, and so does Wells Fargo. I don't know Laredo, but those
Wells
two.
Fargo, they sent us about 10 checks that totaled $350,000.
So why did they send checks instead of wiring this time?
I don't know.
Okay, so you have, if they've sent you the checks, you've gotten them, you have or have not debited the accounts for payments, tax payments.
Right. We plan to do all those at one time tomorrow.
Okay, so everything that you've gotten to date from the mortgage companies will be done tomorrow or
Tomorrow, yes.
tomorrow. And have you received everything that you're expecting from all three of the sources for the mortgage payment taxes?
We're still expecting some money from Laredo.
Okay. Okay. So thank you for answering that. That helps me to be able to tell the constituents a little bit more. And the last thing that I'll say is I'll indicate to you the same thing that I indicated to redevelopment and housing. While you all are a separate entity, we are joined at the hip. And certainly better communication between our office and yours has been happening more recently, but I would hope and expect that we can continue to have that form of communication. While you're responsible for the revenue and payments, we are responsible for making sure that the city coffers are handled properly, and what goes on between you and the finance department with the city. We need that communication to continue to be good, and we need it to be regular. And so with this communication, it was a little late. We'd prefer that you come to us sooner rather than later, when you know that something's, may be on the cusp, so that we can do things like we're going to do tonight a little bit sooner. I would hope that we can continue that communication and get that straight and moving forward, because for all of us, it's about the citizens. So I appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks. I'm done, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Pelham.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kosier. I was thinking on that email that Ms. Denton was referred to. I think we should not, we should also concentrate on the fact that the first line in the email was talking about spending. And even though we can't control when people pay their bills, we can control spending. So I would ask that Mr. City Manager, if you will, is there a possibility of what would it mean to the city? Have you looked at telling all of the directorates right now, I mean, for the next, until the end of December, maybe, to cut back on spending until we get a grasp on the total outlook? And I mean, she's already told us we're up by 4 million in anticipation. I think the money that the taxpayers going to turn in, I guess, Ms. Kosier, you can tell us what that amount is, if you will, for those 5,000 citizens. But at the same time, I think we know that we swap monies when the city is low. The school board might get a grant in or something that's coming in that kind of like saves our balances from going below payroll requirements and all those kind of games. I guess you play with finance, but what's the feasibility of the spending and looking out for that entity?
Councilor Pelham, do you want me to put the email back on the screen, or are you fine?
I don't need it. I just remember, I think everybody can remember what that first line said. You can read it maybe.
No, I mean, I'll put it up if you want. If you're fine, it's okay.
I'm fine with it unless someone else wants it, but it did say there was a number of millions of dollars that we spend. So what can we do about that, Mr. City Manager?
So Councilor Pelham, thank you. That's a very good question. When we looked at expenditures as a result of Ms. Gossier's email, we found that we were actually about 4.745% below our normal spending level at this time of the year. So expenditures are running lower than normal. So that helps in our favor. We do, know and anticipate that, we collect taxes a couple times a year, and then there'll be dips in between when we are getting some taxes, but not at the level that we get in, obviously, in December, February, and June. So, and we can look at slowing our spending during December. We'll have holiday time, so there probably won't be as much expenditure. Now, having said that, there will be expenditure because we're trying to put our COVID money out the door. So we're going to have to spend that money. That's what we're mainly concentrating on right now, other than your normal expenditures that we have to do for payroll and things of that nature. And as the treasurer has indicated, between her email at the beginning of November and now at the beginning of December, we found $4 million. So I know that when I'd asked the finance director to look into where we were with the expenditure level and what we could find as far as revenue in the system. And there was a comfort level on his behalf that given our spending trend currently, which is lower than normal, that we would be fine going into the December 5th tax season with our still being able to meet payrolls and with the spending that was occurring. So we can encourage our departments to slow down a little bit, but I'm confident, particularly given the number that went up tonight as opposed to decreased from 14 million. So that tells me that we've got, some money in the bank to be able to make payroll, which is our typically our largest outpouring of our finances each month. But we can certainly look at slowing down things for a few weeks. And again, with being 2 weeks away from Christmas and the Christmas holiday and people taking, time off, I don't think there'll be a whole lot of spending in the second half of the month, other than on those things that we have to, and certainly our CARES money that has to be out the door, or contracted services out by the 30th. So we'll be working on that for sure.
Thank you, but COVID money is like swap money, so that shouldn't be counted anyway, right?
No, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood we weren't going to slow down on that.
Oh yeah, no, that's money we don't count in the regular budget.
That's
But
right.
my thing is, I would feel more comfortable is not a consideration, but more or less a mandate. Just don't spend anything until the end of the month. I mean, just in case there's another hiccup somewhere in the system that something didn't come in. And I appreciate Ms. Garcia sending that email that she sends us every month to let us know from her perspective how low we are. And it just makes sense to me that we really just, even though it's Christmas, stop spending totally, really, unless it's something that they just have to have. If it's something that they can delay into January and they don't have to utilize it in December, then it shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, I think we can talk about, as we did when we started in the COVID world, about non-essential spending.
Yes.
There are things that we're going to have to, there's bond payments that'll have to be made. There's electrical bills that are going to have to be paid, and those
I'm
things.
not talking about that kind of stuff. you know what I'm saying?
Discretionary spending.
Yes, that can definitely, if they want to buy a screw, they got to fix a bulb next week or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
We don't
ma'am.
want the lights to go out.
Absolutely.
Shut down. But again, consideration for that. And I think that's all I have right now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This question is for Councilor Parton. Councilor Parton, how did you determine, or how did you come up with December 22nd as the extension date? Did you use a formula, or what made you determine that should be the extended date?
Well, I believe when we did the extension back earlier this year, I think we gave roughly 2 weeks in June. And there was discussion among some counselors thinking about December 14th. I believe one said December 17th, and then one said, I believe I put out the idea of December 18th. But after talking with Mr. Altman, and I think he jogged my memory about the 2 weeks, I just thought that it might just be a good idea to do the 2 weeks. And then if we need to come back and we need to do another extension because the bills haven't made it out, we can come back and do that. Just my thought for a good starting place.
So would you be opposed to saying that December 22nd as the extension date without penalty?
Yeah,
we
can
without penalties, or rates, and
sorry.
And then if we need to revisit that, we can just go ahead and do that. I mean, I don't know. I just was wondering why you chose the 22nd, because it was blank on the resolution. So, but okay. So we can say December 22nd, up to, with no penalties.
Sure. Yeah.
Vice Mayor Bennett, if we use the
yes, Madam Mayor.
If we use the language that we did with the taxpayer relief ordinance that we did for COVID-19, we said
Uh-huh.
waiving interest and interest, penalties, and fees. So are you fine with that verbiage being your friendly amendment? Because I think that captures what you are talking about, just to keep language consistent.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Thank
Councilor
you.
Parton, you said you're fine with accepting Vice Mayor Bennett's friendly amendment?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, and if, if all council wants to, move it to the 22nd, I mean, I'm fine with that as well.
And Councilor Pelham, you seconded that. Are you fine with that amendment as well?
No, I want January the 5th.
But you seconded the motion. I'm asking you, are you fine with the friendly amendment?
And what's the amendment? 22nd.
One
The
more day.
22nd with waiving penalties, interest, and fees.
I thought that was the whole purpose of us extending the.
But that wasn't in the motion. His motion was just to extend.
Yes, no
It's
penalty.
actually in the resolution.
But that wasn't in his motion. So
But
that,
The
I mean,
motion,
that might be in a resolution, but she's asking for the motion to match. So I'm asking Councilor Pelham, is she fine with having that friendly amendment with the verbiage for the motion?
But I want to make a substitute motion.
So you're not accepting a friendly amendment?
I am, but I would like to make a substitute motion or amendment.
Okay. That's fine. I just want to get the answer to that. So
Yes.
friendly amendment has been accepted. Madam Clerk, do you have that for the record? So we have the motion reflected correctly.
Can you repeat that motion?
Exactly. Thank you, Councilor.
I actually just needed clarification because the motion that I have extended the real estate tax deadline to Monday, December 21st. But
That's
Vice
what
Mayor Bennett and and Councilor Parton keep saying the 22nd. So
That's
I
I'm
just,
sorry, I meant the 21st. I meant
It
the
was the
21st.
21st, I heard.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We don't need a friendly amendment.
That's fine. We'll keep it with the 21st. I have no
okay.
problem with that.
So the current motion that I have is to adopt the resolution to extend the real estate tax deadline to Monday, December 21st to include interest, penalty, and fees. And I heard that the attorney stated that that's already in the resolution provided in the packet.
Mr. Altman said that, and the verbiage is waiving penalties, interest, and fees.
Okay.
So now we have the motion on the floor. Councilor Pelham,
Yeah, that's,
well, number one is Vice Mayor Bennett. Are you done with the floor?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I am.
Okay. Councilor Pelham, you said you wanted to request making a substitute motion.
yes, that we consider, since we know all this facts about the upward money increase and the order that's gonna go out about spending less and to avoid us meeting again in December, why not just extend it to the 5th of January to ensure it gives everyone a chance to spend all their money and give them a few more days to try to make a loan to pay it.
Councilor Pelham is requesting the ability to make a substitute motion. So we have to do, that has to be seconded.
Yeah.
Second.
Been seconded by Councilor Holloway. So we're going to have a roll call on Councilor Pelham's request to be able to make a substitute motion, not the request itself. Roll call, please.
Councilor Pelham,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett,
No.
Councilor Randolph,
Councilor Randolph, your phone was, had a glitch. Can you repeat yourself, please?
No.
Okay.
Councilor Holloway,
Yes.
Councilor Parton,
No.
Mayor Gore,
No.
Councilor Denton.
No,
Motion fails.
I call for the vote.
1 second, Councilor Parton. Councilor Pelham still had the floor.
Oh, I'm
Call for
fine.
the vote, so that's fine. Councilor Parton, do you mind if I am able to ask questions? I make sure everybody went first before I asked any questions before you call for the vote. Thank you.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. Ms. Gosier, the website, the portal that you have for citizens to be able to access their taxes, someone contacted me this evening actually regarding that. I I haven't played with the system to see the screen to verify if the instructions are kind of clear. But there was a concern that the system wasn't updated to actually have the numbers due in the system. Is that correct? Or is there maybe a problem with maybe what they put into the system to show what was on the screen in terms of their taxes?
I would have to know specifically. They would need to call us and find out specifically for that account. I know that if a person is under collections, they will not be able to see their updated account information. And that's because there's collection fees that need to be added to the balance. So if a
Yeah, I don't
person is
think they
under,
were under the collections, but are you saying that everything is in the system? Like it should work, what you've seen?
yeah, everything, exactly. Everything should be in the system real time.
Okay, so look into that. And then,
I have a comment on that because I have played with it, if I may.
go ahead.
I just want to say that, Madam Mayor, I have played with the system. And one of the issues is that the property ID number has to be known by the constituent, which most of them do not know without a bill. If they do not have that, then the system won't work for them. They can't access it any other way.
So that was actually my next point. So thank you for saying that. I was going to ask Ms. Gosier if you're in, I haven't played with the system, but so now this is the third time I've heard about the ID number. Is there instructions on the page to give people the link to be able to look up the ID number so that way they can get that information and use it to use the system as designed?
I'll
Because
check to
it's
see
a
if we
lot
add it.
right?
Yeah, I'll
Go
check
ahead.
and see if we can get that on there tomorrow. If it's not already, we advise people to go to qpublic.net to get their parcel ID, but we'll have that put on there tomorrow.
Because that's not the system that the Commissioner of Revenue used, but the real estate assessor, she has the whole real estate property lookup. That's a different system, right?
Same, you can get the parcel IDs from qpublic.net.
Yeah, she used that. She used it, told me about that today.
Okay, so we'll get that link on there if it's not there to help people when they're trying to work the system so it's more user friendly. And then my other question I have is for Mr. Altman, and Ms. Gosier, you can jump in if you have feedback regarding this. So from my understanding, what I've been tracking closely is the state's benefits for COVID-19 that some residents are utilizing at this time is about to expire at the end of December. We know that our COVID CARES Act money is going to expire at the end of December, unless Congress does something different, and if Congress does something about a second stimulus check. But as of right now, none of those things are happening. So has finance gone back to crunch the numbers to see if we are anticipating a decline in revenue, given that we're now 9 months into this pandemic, and it's not like things have gotten better with unemployment. It's not like things have changed in terms of businesses popping back open. So are we now looking at new projections in regards to if we're going to be anticipating the projections given to us back in February, March timeframe when we adopted the budget?
I think what we've looked at and what we've seen is we actually have seen some leveling out of the funding or the funds coming in. Whereas in the beginning, when we were looking at the early part in February and through the budget in June, we did have several businesses that had shuttered because of the COVID-19 restrictions that were put in place with regards to gathering. Most of those businesses are back open. I can think of one business offhand that has closed permanently as a result. So those items fund the capital side of our house. So lodging, meals, and sales go towards capital. The general fund budget is primarily funded through real estate, M&T, which are kind of consistent. So as long as those revenues are coming in, our general fund budget should be fine. We did have to make in the budget process a transfer from the general fund to the capital side to make some projects whole during that process. So we haven't seen a tremendous decline at this point in time. We did see a dip, but we have seen some normalization, if you will. I don't know that normal is a word that we can use really consistently anymore, because I'm not sure what normal is, but we're not taking as big a hit as some of the other larger communities that are out there. We've been kind of steady. So we've been watching numbers a little bit to make sure, and we feel comfortable where we are at the moment with regard to our budget and where we stand with revenues. And it's good to hear that in 1 month, we had $4 million more come in, according to the treasurer.
Okay, and so just for follow-up with that, and if your answer is the same, that's fine, but I feel like it was geared more towards business, which is good information still. But I'm talking about looking at the aspect that individuals are going to be facing when these moratoriums, the utility waivers, and all these other support systems are cut off at the end of December, and people are going to have to pay a lot of different things. Are we, especially with our numbers of unemployment still increasing, has that real estate side looking at the taxes been evaluated again to see if you're looking at the same amount coming in? And I know you can't project what people's lifestyle is, but looking at the trend across the area in terms of the support that we're giving out. I don't know if that question is clear, but I'm just saying with some of these moratoriums, people are going to have to pay everything up front to be able to stay in their homes. Same thing with utilities. They're saying we're not cutting you off, but once this ends, you're going to have to pay your full bill. And unfortunately, some people are going to find themselves in really tough situations. Also, in other benefits that are keeping them afloat cut off. And so I'm just thinking, are we anticipating, or have we thought about us not capturing the amount of taxes from residents as we planned? Is there a cushion built in, is my question. I guess I should rephrase it. Is there a cushion built in for that?
There is some cushion built in, and yeah, and while you're right, we can't anticipate what people's lifestyles are and how they're living and expending their funds. I think we've seen a steady decline in our local unemployment cases. I think we're down to a continuing today, 418 continuing cases, I believe, and only 26 new cases in the last 2 weeks the last week. So we're seeing that aspect is leveling off, and the continuing cases are dropping for us each week. And we're kind of leveling out, if you will, on our unemployment. We're around 25, 26 cases each week new, but the number of continuing cases continues to drop each week, which is good news for our residents. And I think there is some cushion there for us. And the fortunate thing we have is, and I don't know that we can necessarily anticipate what's going to happen from a mortgage perspective. So right now, people that have been paying their mortgages and they have those tax monies built in. If suddenly they lose their job in January, we'll receive the tax payment. Our issue will come towards the end of the calendar year, kind of not right where we're at right now. So we will continue to look to see what's going on as far as our finances and what's coming in as we get to the second half, third and fourth quarter of the year, to make sure we're able to hit our numbers. And if we're not, then we're going to have to look at really curtailing spending and what can we do with holding positions vacant and things of that nature. But I think where we're at right now, we're okay.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Dane, I think this is your same hand raised from before, but I just want to make sure.
I think, actually, no, I thought of something else, but I think Mr. Altman just answered it, so I'm okay.
Okay. Any other?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Because we did have the call for the vote on the floor. Okay. Madam Clerk, can you please restate the motion for everyone, please, that's before us at this time?
The current motion on the floor is to adopt the resolution to extend the real estate tax deadline to Monday, December 21st, and the amendment to waive the interest, penalty, and fees.
Thank you. Can you proceed with roll call, please?
Counselor Pelham,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett,
Yes.
Counselor Randolph,
Your microphone is muted, Counselor Randolph. Okay, we'll go back to her.
okay. Counselor Holloway,
Yes.
Counselor Parton,
Yes.
Sorry.
All right, Counselor Parton.
Yes.
All right, Counselor Randolph.
Yes.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Gore,
Yes,
Counselor Denton.
Yes.
motion passes. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made by Counselor Parton. Counselor Pelham, do you want to second it?
Yes.
All right, motion's been seconded by Counselor Pelham. Roll call, please.
Okay.
Counselor Pelham,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bennett,
Yes.
Counselor Randolph,
Yes.
Counselor Holloway,
Yes.
Counselor Parton,
Yes.
Mayor Gore,
Yes.
Counselor Denton.
Yes.
All right, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Let's go see her for your time too.
Thank you.
For coming. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Bustillo.
Thank you, council.
Mhm.